Hi, this is Chef Chris doing another Chef at Home video. Today we're going to be making a vegetable stock. So we're going to start with a mirepoix of onion, celery, and carrots, and a little garlic. I've also had some vegetables that I just kind of cleaned out in my refrigerator. I've got bell pepper in there, some trimmings from broccoli and asparagus that I saved for this purpose, and then I have some mushroom stems. I'm going to be doing a mushroom risotto with this veggie stock sometime later. So I wanted to save the stems from the mushrooms, and we'll be adding that to the stock. So we're going to start with a preheated pan over our pot, I should say. We're going to make we're going to want quite a bit of surface areas to brown up our vegetables. So we got this on a medium-high heat. I'm going to just add about 3 to 4 tablespoons of olive oil, just enough to get a good coating on the bottom. And then we'll start with our onions. About 2 cups of onions. I have a mixture of red and white onions here. I had a half of a regular onion and half of or I should say yellow onion and half of a red onion. So that's kind of what the purpose of making stock is, kind of using up what you have. So it's not really going to matter too much as far as the flavor content. So let that go for a minute. Have roughly 6 cloves of garlic here that I've chopped up. So I'll add that to our onions while they're sauteing. Our mirepoix is the onion, celery, and carrot. And it's kind of the base for any stock or a lot of broth soups or stews. And we want to build the flavor by starting out with that onion, get them to where they're kind of translucent. You can kind of see they're starting to get shiny. You can smell I can smell the garlic starting to cook. It's always nice. And I like to add my carrots. I didn't peel the carrots today because it's veggie stock. It's really up to you. It does give it a little different flavor with the veggie, with the peels. When we do like a beef or chicken stock, we always save peelings from carrots and even the onion peels and whatnot to add flavor. So just really up to you. They can be a little bitter. Make sure you scrub them real good before you cut them up, whether you're using the peels or whether you peel them or not. So we'll let those cook for a minute. We'll go ahead and add our celery. And another thing with the celery is I basically trimmed the celery ends that were starting to dry out rather than throwing them in the compost. They're perfect for stock. In fact, at the end, when we strain all the veggies off, all of this can go right into the compost bin. So we're really not wasting anything, which is great. So let that go for just a little bit. And one thing about vegetable stock is the longer you saute your vegetables, if you can get a little bit of caramelization on the onion, it'll kind of give it some more color and a deeper flavor. So I'm going to let that go for a minute. You can see it's pretty much covering the bottom of the pot, so we want to use all that surface area for our mirepoix, get a nice brown, I don't want to say brown, but when it starts to really break down, and the longer you let it go, the more flavor you're going to have. So like I said, I have this, this is my leftovers. There's the asparagus and broccoli. When you're doing a stock, it doesn't really matter how you cut it up, because presentation-wise, you're going to strain all that off and discard it anyway. But the smaller you cut, the more surface area that you're going to have to work into the stock. So with a veggie stock, we don't cook it as long as we would a chicken or beef stock. So we really want to get the most out of the veggies in the shortest amount of time. So the veggies are looking pretty good here. Starting to see a little browning on the onion. Give it a good stir once in a while to make sure we're not going to burn anything. I think we're ready for the rest of our veggies. Give that a nice stir. Let that start to cook. My mushroom ends, good way to use up shiitake. I bought some shiitake mushrooms from the farmer's market, and the stems on a shiitake mushroom are kind of tough, and it's not something you always pick them before you were to saute or whatever you're using the shiitakes for. But if you know how the price, they're about $12 a pound, so we want to get as much out of the mushrooms as you can. So this is a good way to use up the stems. So I just dump those in there. So we'll let that go for a minute and just let the asparagus and broccoli start to soften a little bit. And again, we're building flavor with the onion and carrots starting to caramelize as we cook it. So now we can go ahead and add our seasoning. I've got bay leaf, a teaspoon of salt, and a teaspoon of whole peppercorns. I'm just going to dump that in there. We can salt and pepper to taste later on, once we've let it simmer for a while. I find when I'm making stock, I always want more salt, but try and keep it as low sodium as possible. So right now I'm adding in some herbs. I've got a bunch of parsley, some rosemary and thyme. You can use oregano or basil, any herb that you want, whatever you like. But parsley is key. Gives it a nice flavor. And rosemary is real hardy, so it will hold up. So now that that's all in, we're going to add 2 quarts of cold water and turn the heat up to high. And we're going to want this to come to a boil. Want to make sure you have enough water to cover your vegetables, which we have plenty here. So I'll give you a look here, and basically looks like a big pot of vegetable soup. So we're just going to bring that up to a boil, and then I'll set a timer. We'll turn it down to a simmer and go for about an hour. Then I'll taste it for salt and pepper before we strain it off. So for now, I'll take a little break and we'll be back in a minute. So we're back. The veggie stock is simmered for about an hour and it's all good. So we're going to strain off the veggies now. I've got a handheld strainer here. I'm just going to put them into a glass pie dish and then we'll compost that. So just strain off a decent amount of the veggies. It'll make it easier to pour into the other pot in a minute. You don't have to get them all out of there, but it just makes it easier. You don't have something splashing. That should be good. Get that out of our way. I just have another pot with a mesh strainer and a piece of cheesecloth in it. If you don't have cheesecloth, you can use a paper towel. It just takes a little longer to go through a heavy-duty paper towel. So we'll just slowly pour that into our strainer. Trying not to splatter or spill. We'll leave a little veggie in there, okay? So now, let that drain off a little bit. And so now, I'll scoop a little bit into a glass pitcher so you can see glass measuring cup I have here. You can see the nice color that we got going on. The flavor is outstanding. I did add just a pinch of salt to it, but came out really nice. So thank you and have a great day.